Sorry about that duty call. But I was talking about karma, about how there's a balance to this universe. So I always try and keep myself on the right side of karma. I try and treat people right. I try to do fair business with people. I'm not coming back here. When I leave here this time, I'm going back where I came from. I have a plan to escape planet Earth. The cycle, the trap, but that's a whole nother story. That involves the moon, the big light you see when you die. I'll tell y'all this, just for giggles. Whenever that time comes, because one day it'll be all our time, and you see that big bright light, do yourself the biggest favor and turn around. Just for giggles. Turn around. Look behind you. They say you'll see the entire universe and you can go anywhere. And the light is just a soul trap, but that's just my beliefs. Um, 48. I've lived a lot of life. I'm at the age where I just go with it. I really, I mean, everything I spent the last 22 years fighting for wasn't ended in disappointment and loss and grieving. So, like I said, I adapt. I became flexible. I remember sitting there one day and I was grieving, and I was just like, I can't die with you. I knew there was something I was supposed to do. I didn't know what it was. And I knew God wasn't ready for me. So I had to keep going. There was something I was going to tell y'all. Forgive the pauses. Sometimes I'm just thinking. Life is good. It's a hell of a time to be alive. With everything that's going on in the world, it's scary, it's exciting, it's change. We're on the brink of something completely new. Even if you're not spiritually attuned, I know you still feel the energy, the shifts in energy, and what a time. No matter how you feel about our 47th president, whether you for him or against him, he's a cult of personality. He is a sign of our times. He is us. And the world is changing. I've always seen myself as a witness. Always. I am here to witness. Sometimes when I pray, I thank God for every eye blink He gives me in this existence. I know what I was going to tell y'all. I was going to tell y'all about 3 people My late spouse, her mama, and her grandma. Granny passed first. They went like back to back to back to back. Granny was first. With Granny, she was the first lady of a church for I think like 45, 50 years. I knew her for 20 or so of those years. She was one of those Christian ladies who lived what they spoke. She knew the Lord, she knew the word, and she knew where she was going. She had no fear. I remember saying, we were worried about it, and she said, I'll be all right, I'll be all right. The next was her mother. Now, Miss Gwen was a trip. I knew her about the same amount of time, about 15, 16 years or so. I remember her when I was a little boy, but that's another story. But Miss Gwen had, what is that called? COPD. Every breath she took, some of her air sacs in her lungs were dying. And they asked Miss Gwen, they told her, we could put you on a breathing machine or we could send you home and let you die. Miss Gwen was like, send me home. I ain't never seen no shit like that ever. I never heard her whine, never heard her complain. I just kept her a steady supply of popsicles. Miss Gwen liked the popsicles. She was on the hospice. And I remember me and my late spouse were talking one day. We were with her the last week of her life. And we were sitting there talking one day. And we were complaining about something. And out of nowhere, we hear Miss Gwen say, we thought she was asleep. It's better than the alternative. And that gave us something to think about, you know. And last was my late spouse. She knew she was dying before I knew she was dying. My whole vlog's not gonna be like this. I just gotta get this out. Gives kind of a reference point. A mile marker, if you will. But she knew she was dying before I did. She had a ring. It was the most expensive ring I was ever able to buy her. And she always had it on. And she had diamond earrings. And she always had them. And one day, one of her diamond earrings fell off in the hospital. And I found it. I asked about a ring. And she had already given the ring to my sister for safekeeping until my daughter was old enough to keep up with it. And I thought about it later and realized she knew before I knew. But she never complained. I was with her every day, caring for her, changing her, cleaning her, feeding her. A lot of people say they know what love is. Love is will. You love me when I don't look the same, when I don't look my best. Will you love me when I can't feed myself? Will you clean my ass if I can't? I remember my daughter telling me that most men don't stay with a sick wife. I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. I couldn't look myself or my kids in the eye if I hadn't. But anyway, she accepted her fate. She knew where she was going. She was brave. I used to fear death. Ain't in no hurry to get there. God willing, I got work to do. But I don't fear it like I used to. I know there's somebody on the other side waiting for me. Somebody's. My father, my sister, my brother, my uncles, my grandparents. They're all there. Now, what I believe is that, one, ears know the truth when they hear it. And I believe we reincarnate over and over. We keep coming back until we learn our lessons and we're able to ascend. And I believe we come back with the same soul family over and over again. One life, this soul might be your father. In the next life, he's your brother or daughter. That's why when you see some people and you know them, it's like you always know them. Anyway, she was gone and I was alone. And I was trying to figure it out. All of a sudden, I was a single father. Oh, shit. She made me promise to get my son to college. That woman died trying to, she tried to live long enough to see him graduate. She was watching, I believe it. Maybe about 3 months later, 2 months later, I joined a widow's group. I needed some understanding. Without saying too much, me and my children wasn't seeing eye to eye. They had their own lives. And I was seriously alone. Like I said, people come check on you for a little while, but you know what I mean? A grown ass man, figure it out. That's life. It's tough. It sucks sometimes. So I figured it out. I applied for some assistance, got it, thank God. Thank God. I can't imagine how single mothers do it out there. It was hard on me. Thank God my son was a trooper. Very disciplined, very serious young man. It was hard. It was hard. I had never had to fill out so much paperwork. You had to give them people DNA. I had to, oh God, just to get her cremated. We thought we had more time to like get insurance and stuff. but we didn't. Like I said, I thought we had 10 or 15 years. She had health problems, but she was strong. When they say the Bible said there's always warning before destruction, there is. There was warning. Out of all the things that could have happened, I never in a million years would have thought it'd be the gallbladder. But there was warning. There were 2 hospitalizations for something, and that was the gallbladder. I learned some things too. After the holidays, they have a lot of people come down with gastroenteritis. Whenever you eat rich, fatty foods in abundance, it works the hell out of your gallbladder. And most people thinking, all well and good, it's just your gallbladder. They could just cut it out and throw it away. You don't need a gallbladder. No, not necessarily. The way it was explained to me is the gallbladder is hard to get to on a regular size adult. Many people that have gallbladder problems are oversized adults because they've eaten too much of the wrong food. And in a lot of situations, it's more risky to do the surgery as it is not to do the surgery because they can't fit in the machine. The x-ray, well, I don't know the technical name. I don't remember. It was a blur back then. But they can't fit in the machine so they can see what they're doing and where they're going. And the whole time I'm thinking, that, oh, well, I left out a part. I think 7 hospitals turned us down. Nobody wanted to do the surgery, like I said, because it was as risky. They could nick an intestine or something, and then you rot away from the inside out. Or they just didn't want anybody dying on their table. So, I always thought that at the last minute they were going to be like, okay, we'll do the surgery. But no. I learned the good, the bad, and the ugly about our healthcare system. We had, I can't tell you, within 4 months, we must have spent 3 of them in hospitals, 3.5 of them before she passed. I mean, I thank y'all for listening. I needed to tell somebody this. It's a heck of a story, but it's the truth. I lived it. But it was we were at hospital. At work all night, get off work in the morning, and rush to the hospital. And then I see what's going on, and I found that I'll give you a piece of advice. If you have somebody in the hospital, hospitals are uncomfortable for guests. We all know that, right? But you know how I survived? I had a real cushy sleeping bag. I'd be exhausted from work. But inside that sleeping bag, I didn't even know I was in the hospital. I'd lay it out on the floor out of the way against the wall, and I'd be in another world. Thank God for that sleeping bag. But what the nurses noticed is that we slept better together. Whoever you with, they say it's chemical. I don't know. Don't get me the line. But we did sleep better together. But one of the things that sucked the most that I never really understood was the last week of her life she stopped talking. And I looked it up and it's normal, it happens. But I never understood that. Maybe she knew she was going, maybe she was talking to somebody else, maybe she wasn't able to talk until when she saw that. One of the things that changed me was I witnessed, I was there, I was holding her hand. I sent her away with about 20 kisses. Once you witness death of somebody you love, you're never the same. But not in a bad way. It's, like I said, I witnessed the end. I know what's going to happen for most of us. You're gone. People come, they're sad, they leave, and they go on with their lives, and they think about you for a few months, and then after that, they think about you on your birthday. But the person you're with, they think about you every day. Which brings me to this. So I joined this widows group, and it was helping to see that I wasn't alone, that there were thousands of people in the same boat. Some of them in worse cases than me. And my case was pretty rough. I lost everything at one time, it seemed like. But it gave me hope. And I decided that I had to keep going and I had to fight, and slowly things got better. And one day I had a message in my inbox. I had tried dating and it was horrible. 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 Like they say, there's not pee in the dating pool, there's poop in the dating pool. Oh my God, I had some bad experiences. Horrible experiences. After being with a good, loving, decent, faithful woman for 22 years, to go back out there and deal with, at my age, it's hell in the first place. You're either dealing with a mama with grown ass kids, or you're dealing with big mama with grown ass kids and grandbabies. Little Tay just got out the pen and ain't got nowhere to go, so he came home talking about, you got to see these hands if you want to date my mama. Oh my God, I was terrified. Because at our age, most people, you're dealing with somebody, somewhere. A man dealing with a woman somewhere, a woman dealing with a man somewhere. And I was not looking forward to dealing with that shit. Not at all. But at the same time, I wasn't wired to be alone. Not at all. And where was I at? Anyway, I got this message in my inbox. And I was like, who the hell is this? What do you want? And I let it sit there for a couple of weeks. Finally answered it, because all I was doing was sitting at home. I'd have her ashes right next to me, and I had my dogs. And I just cleaned out a little space and sat there. And I couldn't sleep. I was up till 4 a.m. Excuse me, every night. Life sucked. But anyway, so I answered this message. And they messaged me back. So I messaged them back. I was like, okay, this woman isn't crazy. She seems sane. Then she video called me. Caught me completely by surprise. I was like, wow, but I guess these days you gotta make sure you're not getting catfish. And I'm like, nah, me. Just me. Um, and we got to talking. She lost her person 10 days before I lost my person. So we was kind of in the same boat. And we kind of understood each other. Most people who hadn't been through it, which I wouldn't wish it on anybody, can't understand. How the hell you crying? You trying to be with me, but you crying over this person here. Somebody who's been through it gets it. I will always honor this man. Most men leave women worse than they found them. He left this one better than he found her. For that, I will always honor him. Honor his memory. He was a good man, a good brother, which leads me. Okay, here's the crazy thing about the story. We have so much in common. And then she has my eyes. Our eyes are very, very similar. It's like when I first saw her, it was like I knew her, but I didn't know her. I've had a strange life. Tell you a true story. I wish I had a Bible right here. I swear on it, I wouldn't lie. True story. I was 4 years old the first time I saw my late spouse. She was 3. She wasn't the girl next door, she lived 2 doors down. I can still remember running across the courtyard. She had on a black shirt and a pink skirt. And when we were kids, there were rose bushes growing in Gilmer Homes. I would always pick the bus driver a rose. That's just how my mama raised me. She said my dad was really romantic. But I left a rose on her doorstep, and she remembered it when I met her when we were grown. But I remember we played house back then. Now, keep in mind, she never gave me the time of day in school. Never. I remember one day she was in the library, and that was my hunting grounds. I love books. And I walk up and I put my comic books on the table and I'm smiling. And she gives me that smile. Will you please leave before anybody sees you sitting here with me? And I took my defeat, crashed and burned. I never even said a word. And 22 years and 2 kids later, I tell everybody this story. God damn, now I gotta tell y'all the rest. Shit. She would always say, tell them the truth. You were looking at my breast. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know why I told you that. Anyway, this woman, we were just talking because we need somebody to talk to. And one day, she sent me a GIF, whatever they call. and it had Bugs Bunny girlfriend blowing a kiss. And my heart went, the fuck was that? And the rest is pretty much history. That's how I ended up in Alabama. I've never. 5 years ago, if you had told me I would end up living in Alabama, I would have told you crazy as hell. But I remember, a lot of my Facebook friends remember, I used to put Roll Tide after everything. I thought it was funny. I had seen something online where the guy was like, Roll Tide, Roll Tide. And maybe my higher self knew one day I was going to be Roll Tide. But life is funny. Funny. I mean, what are the odds of that? 10 days apart, same situation, and their life together was a lot like our life together. We all could have been related. He could have been my brother, and they could have been sisters. What are the odds of that? What I believe is my soul was crying out, and her soul was crying out, and there was a quantum entanglement somewhere, and we called each other. My late spouse was just what I needed in my life when I met her. And this magnificent, amazing woman was just what I needed when I met her. That's why as soon as I'm able to, I will rename my channel. There's a lot of Lucky Robbies, but somewhere Lucky's going to be in the name. My mama told me I was born lucky. And I was. She said, boy, you got a knack for falling in thorns and ending up in roses. Divinely guided and protected, Mom. There's so much I want to talk about. If nothing else, maybe my kids will see this. Maybe one day they'll understand her dad. But I'm happy to be on YouTube. What I've been doing, I've been busy. Planning. What I found out is that there were people at home working from home, working online, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, Fiverr, making more money than I was clocking in, dealing with toxic workers, toxic bosses. All the money's online. Well, not all the money. All the good money is online. When I say good money, is you ain't got to deal with no boss. Don't have to deal with toxic ass coworkers. And I worked food service for 15 years. Don't get it twisted. I'm a millwright, boilermaker, outside machinist, industrial painter, blaster by trade. The recession sent me into food service, and I am proud of it. They work hard. I made good money. I met a lot of good people. Met a lot of ass people too. But I met a lot of good people. And I love to cook, and I love people, so it was a fit. I made money. I had child support. Speaking of that, I have 3 child support payments left. Thank God. The end. No more. No mas. Let me see. I got something I can show y'all. Show and tell. I never cashed this, of course not. But I've had this a long ass time. Oh shit. It's got my name and address on it. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. There. That is a check from here it is. I'll show y'all that. It's a 29-cent check from child support. I paid so much child support, I overpaid. That's like the third check I've gotten from them. They got dudes tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands behind. I owe $500. I'm going in my savings. Take every penny. 3 payments. I haven't seen my full paycheck in 22 years. I am stoked and out. I'm going to take that money I normally pay child support and just save it. I'm going to stack that paper. I am so happy. It's like probation. Pay or go to jail. I'm going to let y'all go now, but I kind of like doing this. It's laying a foundation. I had to tell y'all where I come from so y'all understand where I'm going and where I'm at. Thank y'all for watching. I'm going to keep doing this. So please like and subscribe and share. You have a great night.